and welcome to the semester finale of The Locker Room here on SBTV. I am your host, Chris Watkins, and today, Bernard Franklin to my right, Joey Huebsch to my left. Guys, how's it going?
Going pretty good. I had a good weekend, watching good football, and ready to get this week on the roll.
Cool, Joey.
Good. Went to the Packer game, saw a win in the snow. Pretty fun.
Okay.
Ready to finish the week.
Yeah, very snowy Wisconsin on our hands right now. So tonight we'll be talking about pointer sports, the NFL, and of course college football action from over the weekend. College basketball as well. Joey will give us an update on the motorsports world, and once again we will have our new segment, What's Bothering You? First up tonight, the UWSP men's basketball team as they trounced UW Superior 85-65 Tuesday night in the Quant Gymnasium. Ethan Bublitz led the pointer attack with 17 points. Bryce Williams chipped in with 15 of his own. And with the win, the Pointers are now 3-2 on the season. Guys, what have these past couple games told you about the men's pointer team? Joey, let's start with you.
Well, it looks like Coach Zimmerman has found a good rotation between the roster. I think there's probably maybe 8 guys when I was at the game that he kept switching in and out. And Ethan Bublitz is obviously the main guy on the team. He's good on offense and he's very good on defense, so he kind of leads the charge on both sides.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Bernard?
Well, let me tell you that this team, it seems like they're getting rounded into shape, even though it's only been 5 games. Last game that they had 38 bench points.
Right, exactly.
No matter who you play, if you give up 38 bench points, you're going to lose.
Yep.
And so that's good for our team. As Joey said, Coach has found his rotation of having guys coming in and out. There's not just a 6th man, there's a 7th and there's an 8th man for this team. And I feel that's really what had us when we won the national championship a few years ago, is we had guys that can easily come in and out.
Yeah, deep
and
roster.
Coach is now finding that roster that works for him.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you guys. Either one of you guys more. You mentioned Ethan Bublitz and Williams. They had Brett Tauber down there. I think he had like 9 and 7. So if he can get close to a double-double, on most nights, going to be in good shape. And that bench, like you said, with a lot of younger players, you need a whole lot more contribution than rather we've seen past teams have like 3 or 4 main guys. But when you have like 7 or 8, you can go 7 or 8 deep with guys that are reliable, that can score, pass, rebound, all that, play defense as well. Going to be in pretty good shape. So the season's still young, but we'll see if the Pointers can keep that up. 3-2 on the year, as mentioned earlier. Now, on to women's basketball. The Pointers beat Carthage College last Wednesday night, 66-50. Lauren Anklam, the senior, led the Pointers with 15 points, and the team drained 9 shots from beyond the arc to help their cause as well. With the win, the Pointers are now 5-1 on the season, 3-0 at home. Guys, what has the hot start told you about the ladies? Bernard, we'll start with you.
Let me just say that 9 shots from behind the arc, that's 27 points off of threes. I remember last year, they didn't really shoot the 3 that much. They liked to long twos and then grind it down inside the paint. Coach has found a good group of players that she can have that can shoot the 3, because if you remember last year during the NCAA tournament, they couldn't shoot the 3 at all, and that's how they lost to the number 1 seed. And so I honestly feel that now that they have it, they can be a complete team. They've only lost, if I believe, 1 game this season.
Yep.
Compare that to, Whitewater and Oshkosh, they're both undefeated right now, but they're 3rd behind them. And if they can get their players that can shoot their 3s, make these long twos, and ground it down inside as they've been showing, and also have very, very good, tough defense, then I can see this team, once it gets into WEAC, they can dominate.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be wide open. Joey, what about you?
Well, one big thing is that they're actually healthy. Towards the end of last season, there was a lot of their big players out. Autumn Hines, I think, she was out, and she's back.
Hines,
Lauren and her are the main 2 players on the team, so if they stay healthy, I think they can go a long way with the bench that they have.
Yeah, and to add on to that, the Taylor tandem, Barrett and Douglas, they were putting in some work the other night. And we have Lauren, shooting from the 3 like she did. And then I'm drawing a blank here, but Joey, you just mentioned her. Oh, yeah, Autumn Hennis, there we go. When Autumn Hennis can contribute, and if you saw the 3rd quarter, they opened up on that run. It was like, I think 16-2 run or 14-2 run, and 4 players drained 3s, and I mean, that quickly the game went from maybe, being contestable, but into just an out-of-reach game completely. So with that kind of killer instinct, the Lady Pointers might have something going here. So very, very hot start, especially at home.
Yeah.
So we will see if they can hold up in these cold, cold months approaching. On to hockey now. The women's hockey team beat Northland College last Friday by a score of 7-2. Carla Moran led the scoring for the Pointers as she got her first career hat trick. Also scoring was Ellie Punnett, Mackenzie Cratch, Ali Biagini, and Logan Harper. With the win, the Pointers are now 4-3-1 on the young season. After this slow start, the Pointers have won 2 in a row. So guys, what do they have to consistently do in order to, notch up a few more victories here?
Well, let me tell you now, they had to score early, fast, and often. There are losses that they had this season. They've lost by 2 or less points.
Yeah.
Which is what plagued them last year is they couldn't win the close games like that. And in my opinion, it's just carrying over to the season. And if you look at it right now, the thorn in their side has been bouncing them from the playoffs in the past few years. River Falls, they're 8-1. Why? Because they score fast, often, and early, like I said. And the Pointers just need to find a way to get that. Their goalie needs to stop because, they gave up 2 points last game, but she's averaging about 2 goals on her every game. That's not going to win you any games, really, especially with their offense is not really that up to par in which they can win close games.
Yeah, I agree. The offense, it has been kind of inconsistent. The defense is there, but offense got to step it up a little.
And that defense is creating the more turnovers you create, the more scoring opportunities, and sooner or later that'll lead to more goals and more wins. So if they just keep it going and lean on Coach Ninneman's leadership and experience, it can carry them a long way into the season.
Yeah, they have really 2/3 of the puzzle put all together with the defense and the goalkeeping. It's just getting more catalysts on the offensive end, like you guys alluded to. Besides, Ali, I know she's been probably the main threat offensively, but if they can get a couple more consistent players that can contribute, whether it's assists or the quote-unquote hockey assist when you pass the pass and then the goal is scored, we can see some more W's in the column for the Pointers. So
yeah, for sure.
It'll be interesting to see, but they are above 500. That's a pretty good start considering. On the other side, the men's hockey team beat conference rival UW River Falls on Friday by a score of 3-0. Scoring for the Pointers were Elliot Grauer, Tanner Carty, and also junior goalie Max Milasek, who tallied a goal to go along with an assist. Then on Saturday, they beat UW Superior 4-0 ahead of their doubleheader showdown with Adrian this coming weekend. The offense in that game was Jacob Barber, Elliot Grauer again, Ryan Bittner, and Jono Davis. The Pointer men are now 8-2-1 on the ice, good for second in the WEAC standings, and they are ranked 4th in the USCHO.com poll. Guys, do you think the Pointers can build off of the season that they've started, and what does it mean long term?
For sure. Right now, these guys are playing like they're disrespected by that number 4 ranking right now. They're the defending national champions, and they're like, why aren't we number 1 right now? They are really, really disrespected. Yeah, they was Adrian number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, but guess what? They also beat Adrian last year. And they're playing like, why are they number 1?
Beating pretty easily, too.
When we should be. Look at the wins that they had right now. They scored a total of 40 goals. So that means their offensive power is locked down right now. Their defense is on lockdown. They're not allowing really anybody to score 2 goals versus a total of normally up to 5 per game. They're not losing. There's, as we said before last week, their 2 losses came against the U18 United States team. As we said last week, there's a reason why they're on that team.
Right.
This team, I feel, they're going to take that ranking right now, and they're just going to go on a hot streak.
Yeah, nothing like good old bulletin board material, Joey.
Yeah, and those 2 losses that they've had, they've been against the national team and then St. Norbert's, who they beat to go into the championship game. So they were very competitive in both, so they should be able to make a good run in the cold winter months and head to the Final Four.
Yeah, if you could somehow merge the men and the women's team together, we'd have something crazy because, like you said, getting out to those early, these guys just go. They know one speed, and that's just right at you as fast as possible. Yeah. And if they get you on the power play, you're really in trouble. Yeah. They've just been killing guys on offense all year, and that number 4 ranking, You know, it has definitely provided the fuel. So we'll see. That Friday and Saturday, Adrian, doubleheader here at Willard Arena, number 2 team in the country, 3rd time in 14 days. So let's see what the Pointers can do in another crucial showdown. Well, we're just getting started here in the locker room. After a quick commercial break, we will be back with Badger football and basketball.
How can you get involved with student media at UWSP? Connecting with your campus television station, SBTV, is easy. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Vine, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Pinterest, follow us on Instagram, or connect with us on Google+. But of course, the best way for you to get involved and stay up to date with all that is happening at our station is to stop by our studio. We're located in the Communication Arts Center at UWSP, Studio B, Room 121. You can also drop by our office, Room 130, for more information on station happenings. We can't wait to get you involved. Come join us at SBTV. Let's make media together.
Got an itch to be on air? Join the SBTV News crew. Being an on and off air reporter will help you gain experience in interviewing, shooting and editing video, and reporting behind the anchor desk. Join SBTV News, pointing to you.
Welcome back to the locker room here on SPTV, and now we're going to get into some Wisconsin Badger basketball. They beat Oklahoma 90-70 Saturday afternoon at the Kohl Center. Nigel Hayes led the Badgers with 28 points, and Ethan Happ also chipped in 16 of his own. The Badgers have now won 3 in a row, and their record stands at 7-2 on the young season, which is good for 5th in the Big Ten. The Badgers have 4 non-conference games left before they start Big Ten play. So, guys, is it important for them to win all these games? Joey, we'll start with you this time.
Absolutely. They want to carry momentum into Big Ten play, and they'll be 11-2 if they win those 4. And one of them is against Marquette, their awesome in-state rivalry game. So, yeah, and it gets the players ready to face the challenge of Big Ten.
Yeah, nothing like heading to the conference play rolling. Bernard?
Yeah, as Joey said, it gets them ready for Big Ten play. I mean, look at Indiana right now. They're playing amazing basketball right now. Oklahoma, I feel, in my opinion, was maybe out of any team that they play is the closest to possibly Indiana or Michigan for that, I should say, for the teams that they have to play and beat. They have these games help get their confidence up right now at 7-2 because once Big Ten play happens, it can go downhill or it can go even up from there because Big Ten is outside of Michigan, now Maryland, and Indiana. They can be easily 4th in Big Ten, and you don't want to be that come tournament time or conference playoff time.
Right, and along with that, you know, those guys up at Michigan State, Tom Izzo's going to have them rolling right around March. So, Joy, like you said, well, actually, both of you guys said it is important to get these non-conference wins in. Head into the new year ready. Got teams like Maryland, Michigan, Michigan State, Indiana, of course, looking like the favorite to win the Big Ten. But we never know. Big Ten is usually up there with the best conferences every year, and I think this year will be no different. Speaking of Big Ten, the Wisconsin Badger football team lost to Penn State in the Big Ten championship game on Saturday, 38-31. Wisconsin was ahead 28-14 at halftime and had a 28-7 lead at one point, but Penn State scored 24 points in the second half to win the game and the conference. Guys, did the Badgers choke this game away, or was it Penn State who won it? Joey?
It's kind of both. Our running went away for some reason. Corey Clement had a huge first half.
Sure did.
He just went away, and the defense just started giving up huge plays. But their quarterback is pretty good. He made lots of good throws, and they just got high at the right time.
Yeah, Bernard?
Well, I can tell you right now, Joey, the reason why Wisconsin running game went away is the return of LBU, Linebacker University at Penn State. Okay, those linebackers right now, they were flying around the field, stopping the run, playing the pass correctly. I mean, you can also say they got a little bit of boost from the referees, but guess what? It's Big Ten. When hasn't that happened this year, honestly? That offense of Penn State right now, they were playing really, really well, you know. They were efficient whenever they could be, and they got all momentum going. James Franklin must have said something to their guys at halftime because this is the second time I've seen them come back like that, you know. This is also the team that stopped the number 2 team that won against the number 2 team in the nation in Ohio State, and that's when Ohio State was in their chain of momentum coming in.
Yeah.
So I can't say that Wisconsin choked it. I'll say it was the adjustments made by Penn State that did it, because to me it didn't look like Wisconsin made any adjustments at all.
I completely agree. And like you said, those James Franklin had those guys. I don't know what it was at 20-7. I don't know what it was he said, but after they got down by 21, they just put it on the Badgers. And you would think that Wisconsin being up by that much and knowing their mantra, run game, defense, is not very pretty, but it's effective and it gets the job done. You would think they'd be able to hold the lead. So I kind of think, credit to Penn State, but I kind of think Wisconsin should have had this in the bag. However, it will be Penn State in the Rose Bowl and not the Badgers. And that's what happens when you blow 21-point leads. So with that being said, the Badgers will play the Western Michigan Broncos in the Cotton Bowl on January 2nd, part of the New Year's Six. Guys, how do you see that game going against an upstart Western Michigan team? And if the Badgers lose, will the season be a failure? Bernard, I'll start with you.
In my opinion, I could see them possibly losing to Western Michigan. Western Michigan is on a roll, 13 straight wins this season. That's not as impressive. Only other team right now is undefeated is Alabama. But Wisconsin, they can also hand it away. But then you also say Wisconsin in bowl games against mid-majors like that, they don't hold up what they're supposed to be. Look at a few years ago when they played TCU in the Rose Bowl. What happened? Blown out of the water. So I think it can go either way, but I do have Wisconsin winning by probably a field goal.
Okay, Joey?
Yeah, I see him winning by a touchdown. If they can keep the Broncos star receiver Corey Davis under control and eliminate the big plays like they did against Penn State, I think they should be able to control Western Michigan and beat them. But I don't think, if they lose, I don't think it's a season failure. Because when you looked at their schedule, not many people thought they were going to be good this season, especially starting out with LSU.
Very true.
That was a big upset, so it's not a failure.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Definitely not a failure. That win against LSU alone, I think, kind of validated their season. And getting to the Big Ten title game, being right there on the cusp of a playoff berth, it's nothing to sneeze at. As far as the game against Western Michigan, I think the Badgers will get out to another big lead. I think Western Michigan will make it close and interesting, much like Boise State and Oklahoma back in that Fiesta Bowl years ago. So kind of like that David versus Goliath matchup, and I really think it can go either way. I'm going to take what we've seen more of this season, which is Wisconsin getting out, implementing their will against other teams, and hopefully for their sake this time they can hold on to the win. But I think it'll be about 38-34, pretty much like the Big Ten title game. So we'll see how that goes. After another great weekend of college football, the playoff is now set. Number 1 ranked Alabama will take on number 4 Washington, who got in over Michigan, Wisconsin, and Penn State. And number 2 Clemson will take on number 3 Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl. Guys, who wins these 2 games, and who is your national champion?
My national champion, call me biased, Ohio State.
I like that.
Why? Ohio State, I feel they can beat Clemson. And of course, Alabama's just going to steamroll Washington.
Yes.
Washington has no choice at all. And when it comes down to the national championship, Alabama versus Ohio State, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be a nice game. It's going to be sloppy. It's going to be smash mouth defensive football, from both teams. And I feel it's going to be one of the lowest scoring national championship games that we had in a while. I see it probably going 14-7. Ohio State.
Low key, low scoring, Ohio State win. Okay, I like it. Joey, what about you?
Obviously, Alabama's automatically in because Washington's not even close to them. And I'm going with Clemson to beat Ohio State just because of Deshaun Watson. He's been great all season.
Yeah.
But Ohio State, they're young and they're really good. So either way, that game can go either side. But I'll take Clemson, and then I'll take Alabama to win it all since they've been number 1 all season, and why stop there?
Yeah, like you guys said, it's going to be that Alabama-Washington game. Jake Browning, Washington quarterbacks, had a great year, but against elite competition, I just don't know. The proof's in the pudding. He hasn't played quite up to par as in the other games when we were beating Idaho and whoever else. But that should be fairly easy for Alabama. Clemson, Ohio State's going to be good.
Yeah.
That Fiesta Bowl, or no, Orange Bowl rather, a few years ago when Clemson beat Ohio State was pretty telling. So I think Urban Meyer will have that in his mind a little bit as he sends J.T. Barrett and those guys out there. I think you'll see Alabama, Ohio State in the national title game. The two best coaches in college football, Nick Saban and Urban Meyer, by a pretty wide margin, I would say. It's going to hurt me to say this. I love my Buckeyes. I just do not see how they're going to be able to outlast Alabama for 4 quarters.
Yeah.
I mean, just even the Wisconsin and Penn State games when the offensive line was going through issues, these Alabama boys on defense, I mean, they can replace the Browns and the Rams. I'm pretty sure. I mean, in Ohio State, they'll make it interesting. I mean, Malik Hooker in the secondary and those guys, they'll make it trouble for Deshaun Watson. Why I picked them to beat Clemson. And they'll make it the same for Jalen Hurts. But overall, Alabama's the machine just doesn't stop. The gears never stop grinding. And I think, sadly, as a Buckeye fan, we will see the Crimson Tide as your repeat national champions. Well, we're going to take a quick break right here, let you guys kind of think about that as well on the college football front. After that, we'll talk a little bit of Green Bay Packers. Joey has his motorsports recap, and of course, what's bothering you.
You're supposed to take a break.
break after Wisconsin
Don't have a television? Don't
Yeah,
worry.
me and Joey looked
SBTV is available on demand at uwsp.edu/SBTV. Find your favorite shows on our website, plus links to all of our YouTube content. Stay up to date with SBTV news that includes information about campus and community happenings. And don't forget to like us on Facebook. We're SBTV-UWSP Television. SBTV. Let's make media together. How can you get involved with student media at UWSP? Connecting with your campus television station, SBTV, is easy. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Vine, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Pinterest, follow us on Instagram, or connect with us on Google+. But of course, the best way for you to get involved and stay up to date with all that is happening at our station is to stop by our studio. We're located in the Communication Arts Center at UWSP, Studio B, Room 121. You can also drop by our office, Room 130, for more information on station happenings. We can't wait to get you involved. Come join us at SBTV. Let's make media together.
That defense will have to score some points somehow.
Got an itch to be on air? Join the SBTV News Crew. Being an on and off air reporter will help you gain experience in interviewing, shooting and editing video, and reporting behind the anchor desk. Join SBTV News, pointing to you.
Okay. And welcome back to the locker room once again. More college football. The Capital One Orange Bowl will be number 11 Florida State versus number 6 Michigan. The Rose Bowl will feature number 9 Southern California at home against number 5 Penn State. And the All-State Sugar Bowl will pit number 14 Auburn against number 7 Oklahoma. Guys, some pretty good games here. Who do you think will win these games? Which games interest you the most and why? Bernard, we'll start with that.
Honestly, all the games, they interest me, but the one I'm really looking forward to is, of course, home state, Penn State versus Southern Cal.
Yeah.
It's a home game, of course, for Southern California. They're just going from one side to Pasadena. They're going from downtown LA to Pasadena. So I'm really excited to see how that'll do. As I said previously, LBU, them Penn State linebackers, see how they're going to hold up against that running game of, and screen game of Southern California right now, and that game, it really, for me, will be the game of the year, And then another game I want to see is that Florida State versus Michigan game. Michigan is going to be upset. They're going to be angry that they got snubbed and that they lost to Ohio State in double overtime.
Right.
And so I want to see how they're going to respond from that loss. And those are really the two games out of all of them that I really want to see.
Yeah, that Rebirth Bowl, USC against Penn State. Joey, what about you?
The Rose Bowl between USC, which it's been a while since they've been in one, since especially the 08 one, the famous with Vince Young and that. And Penn State, see how they bounce back after not getting in the playoff and see if their linebackers can hold up. And then I have Penn State actually winning that game over USC since they won the Big Ten and they've been really good. And then I would go with the Orange Bowl with Michigan because they've been good all year long. So if they would have won the Big Ten, they would have obviously probably been in the playoff. So I think Michigan beats Florida State, even though Florida State started out in the top 10, I think, in the beginning of the year, and they dropped, and now they climbed back up.
Yes, all these games are going to be good. Even the Oklahoma and Auburn game, I think it'll be probably the most interesting game. USC, Penn State, like you guys said, probably the biggest statement, Michigan over Florida State. Now, moving on to the NFL, the Green Bay Packers beat the Houston Texans in the snow Sunday, 21-13 in a game that was dominated by the elements. Aaron Rodgers threw 20 of 30 for 209 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Jordy Nelson caught 8 passes for 118 yards and 1 touchdown. Randall Cobb caught the other touchdown. After losing 4 in a row, guys, the Packers have now won their second straight and are 6-6, tied with Minnesota for second place in that NFC North. Can they actually turn their season around and make the playoffs? Joey, we'll start with you.
I think the true test this week is against Seattle because Seattle came off that huge win against the Panthers, 40-7. I know that hurts to bring it up. So that'll be the true measuring stick for the Packers, see if they're actually legit and can make a run. But, man, Detroit has a 2-game lead. It's going to be tough to catch them, but they're only 1 game back out of the wild card. So there's still somewhat of a chance, but they're going to have to win these last 4 games if they want in.
Yeah, it's pretty much win out or sit at home in January. Bernard?
Yeah, I agree with you, Joey. They have to win out, or at least try to get to 8-8 on this season to try to clinch that playoff berth. I don't see them catching Detroit at this point, honestly. Detroit, they're just on a roll right now. Matthew Stafford is playing like, hey, remember me, you always said I was injured, and who said I only needed Calvin Johnson to win? Right now, he's just playing completely angry, and that type of football, when you're a quarterback, that gets you places. And you look at it, you play Seattle. Seattle their morale might be kind of hurt, you know. Earl Thomas, leader of their team, he's gone. He's gone, you know. Attack that next free safety that's coming there, avoid Cam Chancellor, and don't throw to Richard Sherman. I can see the Packers probably winning that game. Who knows? It's a game of football. Who knows how another team is going to come into that game.
Very true.
And then 3 straight conference games. And we all know they can easily beat Chicago. Minnesota right now, they're just
in shambles.
They're going down.
And then last game is against the Lions. And so that game will just, I feel that will determine
I agree.
who it is. And then also just keep an eye out on those standings because New York Giants right now, they're playing good. They're falling, but they're still also playing good, and they can win those games that they lost. They can win.
It's going to be interesting. I think if Green Bay can get past Seattle, like you said, I think they can win out. I think they'll beat Detroit, even though Matthew Stafford's playing incredible football, MVP candidate, no question. But I think they have the late season experience to pull a win and pull a stretch out like that. And if they can't get the North, maybe they can get the wild card. Redskins struggling. The Giants just lost. They play Dallas next. Tampa Bay's up there, I know, but Green Bay's within striking distance of them as well. They play Dallas too coming up. So we'll see. Guys, what other games this past weekend stood out to you?
Derek Carr proving why he's the MVP this year. He proved it, you know. Everybody said he's probably going to be a bust, but I don't see that at all because as soon as he came in here, he was being productive. So right now, Raider football is the reason why I'm watching football.
Yeah, definitely a resurgence for the silver and black. Joey?
Eric Berry's emotional homecoming this week, that pick 6, and then he had the pick 2 for the game winning, which the first in the NFL in their franchise. So that was pretty unbelievable what he did.
I have to agree. Maybe the Hawks should recruit Eric Berry. They could use a game-winning 2-pointer. I have to agree with that, though. The Chiefs are the most under the radar team in football, but maybe quietly the best. You talk about Dallas and you talk about Oakland, and of course, with all due respect, they are 10-2 and 11-1 respectively. But Kansas City, these guys are playing some football. It's not the prettiest, but they're getting it done. And that defense with Eric Berry, Justin Houston and company, don't be surprised if we're talking about them January and maybe even February.
It's just Andy Reid coming back to what he used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Just in a different conference. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break here. After that, Joey will give us the latest news in motorsports, and we will have, again, What's Bothering You?
Not to mention I'm ranking most of it.
Don't have a television? Don't worry. SBTV is available on demand at uwsp.edu/SBTV. Find your favorite shows on our website, plus links to all of our YouTube content. Stay up to date with SBTV news that includes information about campus and community happenings. And don't forget to like us on Facebook. We're SBTV-UWSP Television. SBTV. Let's make media together.
Welcome back. Last Thursday in Las Vegas, NASCAR Chairman and CEO Brian Fance announced that Monster Energy signed a multi-year deal to become the third entitlement sponsor of NASCAR's Premier Series. The announcement comes just under a month before spring sponsorship expires on December 31st. Along with the naming rights to NASCAR's Premier Series, Monster Energy will also hold race sponsorship to the NASCAR All-Star Race and become the official energy drink of NASCAR. There was shocking motorsport news in Europe this past Friday when newly crowned Formula One champion Nico Rosberg abruptly announced his retirement from Formula One racing less than a week after winning the championship. He collected 23 victories in his 206 career Formula One starts and was championship runner-up twice before winning the championship this year. That's all we have for you in the motorsports world.
All right, thank you, Joey. And now, guys, last one of the semester. Get ready. What's bothering you? Bernard, it's your first time on here. We'll start with you.
What's bothering me right now is the playoff committee.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm tired of them. They were telling teams, hey, build up a good out-of-conference schedule, and you can make it. Look at Oklahoma. They lost to Houston, and they lost to Ohio State. Both teams at the time were undefeated. Both were early in the season, and they just went on a tear after the Ohio State game. And then you look at teams like Alabama. I mean, granted, yes, they're the best team right now, but they don't play anybody at all. Southern Alabama on their schedule, who are they? Then you also look at Washington. Washington, they won the Pac-12, but look at their out-of-conference schedule. They played Rutgers, who is Rutgers hasn't been really competitive in football for a long time. You look at, they play Idaho. Idaho, I didn't even know they had people out there outside Boise.
Yeah, just potatoes.
And then they also play Portland State. Portland State, never heard of them before in my life. But yet this team is in the playoff, and they stubbed out teams like Oklahoma and Penn State. That's what's bothering me.
All right, good start. Joey?
Well, what's bothering me is the Big Ten championship officials. Well, I'm a Badger fan, so obviously kind of biased, but they missed a couple of calls, especially the sack with, I think it was 3rd and 15. Our linebacker sacked the quarterback while he threw it away, but he tackled him, and they were still in the field of play, but they slid out and they threw a flag. And even the broadcasters calling the game, they said that probably shouldn't have been a penalty because they were still in the field of play. So, and then there was a couple of other ones, but I'm biased, so it doesn't really count.
Both of you guys make valid points. As for me, outside of interceptions due to dress code violations, which we won't get into, what's bothering me is the inordinate amount of big injuries in the NFL and subsequently big stars retiring from them. We saw Earl Thomas on Sunday night against Carolina in that Seattle win 40-7, break his leg on what should have been an interception, colliding with his own teammate Cam Chancellor. And shortly thereafter, he posted on Twitter that he was, a lot of things were going through his head, including retirement. And the same may be the case for Luke Kuechly, who got concussed on national TV himself a couple weeks ago. And just going back to Patrick Willis and lesser known guys like Jake Locker, and even back the last decade as a Panther fan myself with Dan Morgan, having his series of concussions. So I think as enjoyable a sport as football is, and yes, the viewership is down, but as much as we as fans enjoy it and we as fans identify with our favorite teams and favorite players, it kind of hurts to see the players that we kind of idolize and use on Madden and whatever else, buy the jerseys, you know, and who help support our allegiance to these teams. It kind of helps to see them go maybe faster than they should. It kind of hurts their Hall of Fame careers or the track that they're on to producing those kind of careers. And all we can hope in the future is that these guys stay healthy both on and off the field and throughout their lives. Well, guys, on that note, sad news, this is our last show of the semester. But worry not, we'll be back next semester at the end of January. I'd like to thank Bernard Franklin, Joey Huebsch, Ben Zitouni, thank Nate and Evan in the back for the technical staff and all their hard work to make sure this is possible. Nate, we're also congratulating you on your graduation and wishing you well in your future endeavors wherever and whatever they may be. Be sure to check us out on Facebook at SBTV UWSP Television or follow us on Twitter at SBTV_UWSP. Also, visit the UWSP homepage to locate all of your Pointer athletic information. Until January, happy holidays and see you later from the locker room.